I've had a couple of really great meetings over the last week with a good friend of mine and a colleague. He's been in the industry for about 20 years on the management side here in the Bay Area. And we're both pretty pumped about Swerver and this idea of bringing meditation, mindfulness, fitness to people in the food service industry. But the cynics in us are a little concerned that, based on our experience with other people that we've worked with, that this message might fall on deaf ears, and that the people that are already doing things for themselves that are healthy and wellness based are already on board, and of course might want and might need encouragement. But those that aren't doing these things will feel defensive and get all worked up and freaked out that people are asking them to change behavior and whatnot. And it's made me think about this a lot in the last 24 hours in particular. And one thing that I've been wondering is, is it that people in the restaurant industry are necessarily that unhealthy and unmotivated? Or is it that the industry itself simply doesn't really talk about these things in a way that lifts people up and inspires them to be better and to be their highest versions of themselves? I've been looking a lot into the tech industry here in Silicon Valley and the wellness programs that they have for their employees. And Google, for example, has this program called Search Inside Yourself. It was started by Google employee, I think 110 or something, and it is this whole routine program around instilling mindfulness meditation into the workplace. And these workshops have a 6-month waiting list for them. Facebook, LinkedIn all have similar setups where, you can get back massages and foot rubs, and, there are yoga studios and meditation rooms. Now, granted, their setup is a lot different than the restaurant industry. These are highly skilled, highly paid workers that they want to keep on campus working as much as possible. I mean, the restaurant industry is entirely different for many reasons, but worker productivity and getting the most out of your employees must still be a priority and something that restaurateurs want for out of their businesses. So what I'm trying to say is, when you start a program like this, when you start a movement, when you start to talk about getting well and being a higher, better version of yourself, I think people automatically feel judged. They feel like you're asking them to make these huge sweeping changes, and that they have to, drop every vice or every, quote unquote, negative, unhealthy behavior that might actually give them some form of relief in their life. And I'm not saying any of that. Each one of us has to decide for ourselves what we allow in and what we keep out of our lives. I have a friend who is a recovering alcoholic, and for him, touching alcohol is absolutely a no-no. It's off limits. He won't do it again. But for me, that's not an issue. That's not my thing. It's not my hang-up. That's not something that I struggle with. So, I guess to wrap this up, the two things that I want to explore, and maybe some of you can help me, especially if you're in this industry, are these two things. One, do you think that people in our line of work need this sort of thing, need this sort of encouragement, specifically around meditation and fitness that's tailored to and kind of sculpted with the language and terminology and mindset of people in our industry? I mean, any one of us can get a membership at the gym. Any one of us can join a yoga studio. But are those places speaking to us as restaurant people? That's one thing. The other part to this is by turning up the heat on people in our industry, by bringing these sorts of things to light and making people more aware of them, are we going to alienate and turn people away and make them feel judged? And if so, what are some ways that we can perhaps tone down the message or package this so that people feel cool with it? Because again, I'm not out to make people feel ashamed of themselves. That just isn't the way that I operate. I don't believe that that's a tactic for long-term sustainable growth and change.